got back from a Tinder date and I want to tell you guys my experience really quick, okay? So I matched with this guy and we talked back and forth for a couple of days. Pretty quickly, he asks me out, picks a time and place, and I'm all for that. I love that. So I'm like, okay, yeah. But we don't even have each other's phone numbers yet. He's pretty good at conversation though. Like, he knows what questions to ask. He and I have quite a bit in common. So I agree to go on the date. I was like, should we exchange numbers? He's like, yeah, sure. Over message, he seems so sweet. I show up to the restaurant. He drove an hour to get here. I see him standing. He's like pretty tall and handsome. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I walk up to him. Okay. So I don't know how to say this without being mean. This is just the fact of the matter. He has a pretty severe speech impediment. So I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe he's just nervous. Like, no big deal. Like, I can barely understand what he's saying because of the way he's talking. And I don't want to imitate him, but he just has this thing where he makes this sound before and after every single sentence. It kind of scared me and like took me aback at first. Not to say like, I'm really trying not to be mean here. Like, this is just how I felt, right? So we're talking and I'm like getting my bearings and I'm thinking like, okay, I'm now on this date with somebody and I just still want to give him a chance. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay. So we start talking. Conversation's great. He's really, really sweet. You can tell he's super nervous. He's sweating, but he's really good at conversation. Like, really smart guy. Super smart. Super sweet. As we were talking, I'm like, I could totally be friends with this guy, but I didn't want to lead him on. So comes to the end of the meal. I'm like, oh, I have to leave. He's like, would you want to do this again sometime? And as soon as he said that, the server came over and she's like, how's everything going? He's like, yeah, I'll take a box and a check. She walks away. I'm like, I'm gonna go wash my hands. And I was just in the bathroom like, oh my gosh, like, he's asking me if I want to hang out again. I know I don't. How do I let this guy down easy? So pep talk in the bathroom, like, just tell him the truth and be nice. So I go back out. He asked me like a few more questions and I just kind of said to him, I just could see like more of a friendship. And he was like, yeah, we can totally start as friends and then we'll go from there and maybe we can meet up here. Like, he kept talking in future tense and he told me he talked to his mom about me, like all this stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I feel so bad. Then I leave and he was just like, I had a really good time. I think we're going to be really great friends. I was just like, thank you so much for lunch. I really enjoyed meeting you. You're genuinely a great person. I just don't see a romantic connection. And he took it so well. That's the other thing. I was just like, my heart. I really like wish the best for this guy and I want him to have the family that he dreams of. You know what I mean? He has big dreams and big goals and ambitions and that's one of the things like we had in common and I'm just like, man, like you're just gonna do so awesome. I always get curious about the people who meet someone and then the person's not attracted to them and get super offended. It's not a personal attack. They can't help how they feel. Why be mad at someone if they're not attracted to you? They can't change how they feel. Just accept it and just be cool about it like this guy was. He was great. I don't think I'm in this space to be dating right now. I just have a lot going on, so I'm just gonna set that journey to the side. But in the meantime, happy hunting.
Here's my story time about when I got robbed by my roommate. And I don't say robbed lightly because it was a massive lump sum of money that went missing. To make a very long story short, I was getting ready to go on a cruise with my boyfriend and his family for spring break. So naturally, I go and get cash out of my safe. I open it up. There's a massive amount of money missing. And I immediately call my mom, bawling, crying, telling her that somebody is taking money from me. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I need to go get a lock on my door. And she was like, no, like, go buy a camera. So I ran to Walmart, got like a $30 Roku camera, stayed at my boyfriend's house all week to make it like, you know, that I wasn't home and like anybody can go in whenever they pleased. I was leaving on Friday and Alex was leaving on Thursday, my boyfriend, because he had a job interview on Friday. So we went to Publix on Thursday to go get a quick lunch. Mind you, like all week there has been nobody in my room on the camera. Thursday comes, that roommate that robbed me had a cat. The cat and our dog like didn't really like each other, didn't get along. The cat didn't like the dog. So she sends me like a cute video of like the cat running up to the dog, like everything was okay, like everything seemed okay. And then we're driving back from Publix and my camera's like going crazy. So I immediately like open it up. I'm watching it live. Mind you, watching it live coming home from Publix. And that video that I posted is what I was watching live. She was taking money out of my safe. My day was completely over at this point. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning. Alex was about to leave. So like we got home and I immediately went upstairs to check how much she took this time. She took $100. Yeah. And like I was heated. Like I was pissed. So I like cooled down a second and then I went to go knock on her door. Backstory, she had like a lot of mental things going on at the time. Not an excuse, but so she wasn't really in the right headspace when I went and like was like, you're taking from me, you're stealing from me, she was just denying it. And then my boyfriend Alex grabs the camera and he's like, we literally watched you live on the way to Publix. But yeah, immediate eviction. Haven't heard from her. Last time she texted me was like a couple months ago asking for some of her stuff back because it was like such a quick move out. And she was like, oh, like this thing that I got was a gift. It was not a gift. She bought it at the store with me. So just like pathological liar behavior, but never filed a police report, which I very much regret to this day. I should have done that, and it was my mistake. But yeah, that was the story of how I got robbed. It's like my part 2 from when I got robbed by my roommate, because there has been a lot more questions because I didn't cover everything in the first video. First, I'm going to start by saying that house that you see on the video, that's my house. My parents got it for me when I moved to college because it was going to be cheaper than renting, blah, blah, blah. You get the point. So it was my house. She was immediately evicted. Like, next day, her mom flew into Florida and packed her up, and she was out. Like, everybody was aware of it. Like, immediate eviction. The next question that I got a lot is how she knew where the safe was and what the pin was, and your guess is just as good as mine. She knew where my safe was, probably because the cat kept going under the bed. Like, the cat was always in my room under my bed. And she was in my room a lot too. Like, we were really, really, really close. So that's probably also how she was able to find out the code. But then the next question I keep getting is why I didn't like call the police, get legal action, whatever. I've replied a couple times, but it's literally just because it's cash. Like, I have a video of her taking $100, but I don't have a video of her taking $100 times 10. You know what I mean? Like, it's harder to prove when it's cash. And I have cash in case of emergencies because people are like, why do you even have cash nowadays? Like, whatever. In case of an emergency, somebody only accepts cash, you know, it's my house. You never know what's going to happen. And then lastly, with the amount of money that I got back, I did get money back. The issue with the refund payment, I didn't know the exact number. I knew like the 1,000 number, but I didn't know the numbers like after, you know, like the hundreds and stuff. So I like didn't think it was fair. I know, wrong place, wrong time to not, you know, think it's fair, but I didn't think it was fair to ask for more than I like thought that I had. So I like asked for less. It was really, really, really stupid of me, and trust me, I wake up every morning and I'm like, damn, I'm such an idiot. But yeah, so my mistake, total lesson learned. Like I said, a lot of like mental things going on at the time, so it was, that's not an excuse. But yeah, it was just a whirlwind. Just to add, like, I went on a ride along with the sheriff. I told him about it. He was also kind of like iffy as to whether or not I should do anything. And I work at a law firm, and I've talked to multiple attorneys about it, and again, it's cash. It's not like she wired money from my bank account, you know? So it's just harder to prove. I still have a year, because I believe the statute of limitations in Florida is 3 years. So if I do decide to do anything with it, I still have another year, but that's just my story, and I'm ready to put this to bed. And I do have a lock on my door. By the way, there is a lock on my door now, but there wasn't before. But yeah, that's the story of when I got robbed by my roommate.
Good morning, my name is Aubrey. I am 20 years old and I am currently dating an inmate. My boyfriend, Jimmy, has been incarcerated since December 27th, 2025, and I miss him every single second of every day. Today, I am going to be doing the story of how we met and our relationship leading up to his incarceration, because that has been one of my most asked questions since I started my page a couple days ago. So I have known Jimmy since I was about 15 years old. I was friends with a couple of his friends and him. He actually went on to be in a relationship with one of my old friends, which I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for. I don't know what to say, shit happens. But I was going through a very tough time in my life back in August, and we kind of reconnected and started talking again, and I invited him over my apartment. We hung out that night and we just hit it off from there. We spent every single second of every day together pretty much since that first night that we hung out. We have lived and experienced a lot of life together in the time that we have been together, and honestly, we have so many beautiful moments and memories. I have a child from a previous relationship, but we also have a pit bull together. His name is Thor. This is Thor. He is a 5-year-old pit mix. And yeah, we have lived together and done a lot of things together. His mom got injured. I've helped him take care of his mom, and we have just lived and experienced a lot of life together. I'm sure you guys were hoping for like a more interesting story, but that's really just all that there is to it. We hung out one night and became best friends and became inseparable. When he got arrested on December 27th, 2025, it obviously rocked my world. And although I do get a lot of questions about why he is incarcerated, I really can't speak too much on it because he still has an open case. I might try to figure out what I can talk about to give a little bit more of an explanation, but obviously I don't want to do anything that's going to harm him or his situation. And all I can say is, although this is never the life that I wanted for myself, I genuinely do love him and I know he's a good person. And the circumstances revolving around his incarceration are probably not what you would think that they are. So although this is not something I ever wanted and is essentially something I got thrown into, I do love him and I intend to stick by him and be there for him because I believe that that's what you do when you love somebody. You don't just run away when things get rough. You work through it.
Stepmama drama part 1. I have decided I am going to start a series of all of the shitbag things my husband's ex-wife and my bonus baby's bio mom has done to me or us, our household, over the past 8 years. Some of you may view this as petty or childish or messy. No, not me. I view it as growth because 2, 3, 4 years ago, I would have never done something like this because I just so badly wanted her to accept me and want to co-parent with me and want to be friends with me. So I walked on eggshells and I was quiet all the time because I just wanted to be accepted. But not anymore. So here we go. Let's kick it off super strong. Let's take this back about 7 or so years ago. I was pregnant with my daughter, very pregnant. I was probably about 8.5 months pregnant to be exact. I took my bonus kids with me to my son's baseball game. They were supposed to be with us that night. My husband ended up getting called in. He had to go to a meeting last minute. It was going to be a quick meeting, maybe an hour's tops. But I said, hey, they can just come with me to the baseball fields and, we'll see you when we get home. No big deal. Or so we thought. Bio mom somehow found out that the kids were with me at the baseball game instead of with their dad, who was at a business meeting, maybe an hour tops. And she proceeds to blow my phone up. All while blowing my phone up, she is simultaneously texting me as well, telling me that she's going to call the cops on me for kidnapping. Now, this next part I'm not proud of, but I was young and very scared, and I didn't want to mess up anything. So I actually pulled my son from the game before it was over and left early so that we could go home and I wouldn't get the cops called on me. Me now feels stupid and guilty that I robbed my son of playing baseball that night. I wish she would threaten to call the cops on me at this point. Back on track. So I am going home. I stop at a drive-through Pizza Hut and I pick up a pizza to go so that way when we get home, so I'm thinking we're gonna eat pizza, we're gonna take showers, we're gonna get ready for bed because the next day was a school day. All the while, my Ring notifications had been going off for the past hour and are still going off. She was actually stalking my house. She was parked across the street, kept driving back and forth, lights on, lights off. And then she finally just found a comfortable place to park and wait for me to get home. Once I got home, she proceeded to pull up and block me into my own driveway, like I was going to try to run from her or something. And then when I get out, I'm just acting like she's not there. Whatever, I'm getting the kids out of the car, and she just starts yelling and cussing and everything. It was so embarrassing because it was a very small neighborhood, like a very small community. So she's yelling, screaming. I'm just getting the kids out. The kids are very upset. Her oldest daughter was confused and was like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And I was like, hey, it's okay. Like, don't worry about it. She then proceeded to tell me not to talk to her children. So I was to be present, but I was to be seen, but not heard. Isn't that the saying? Anyways, and that they were not going to be staying with me and to go get in her car. That's what she told the kids, go get in my car. And I said, well, their book bags are inside. Would you like me to get those for you because they have school tomorrow? She said yes. And so then I start walking up to the front door and I'm unlocking the door to go in to get the book bags. And her daughter had come and was standing like in front of me. She was going to walk in the house and go get her stuff and get her brother's stuff and whatever. And I can't really remember this part as far as like what transpired and why it transpired. I just know that I kept asking her to please back up because my front porch light wasn't on, and she was extremely irrational, very emotional, was not acting what I thought was herself. Come to find out, that's totally normal. We were within realm. I kept asking her to back up. I guess I was taking too long to unlock the door for her liking, and she proceeds to reach around me to grab her daughter by the arm, and I simply went to go block her and say, like, don't be aggressive with her, like, stop being mad with her. And she didn't like that, so she proceeded to shove me and push me into the stucco on the house, or the side of the house. All of which, remember, is caught on my Ring camera. So at this point, now I'm pissed. I'm super pregnant. You just pushed me. Don't. You shouldn't put your hands on anybody, but, like, why are you putting your hands on a pregnant woman? Like, calm down. Calm down. So now I start yelling, telling her, please get off my property. I will go get their things and I will bring them to the end of the driveway. Go get in your vehicle and get away from me. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel safe anymore. And that's exactly what I did. I went inside, I collected everything. I passed it off to her. I just set it in the driveway. She grabbed it. And then after she left, I called the cops. The cop got there and reviewed the Ring camera footage. And he said it would be a double battery felony. One for me and one because I was pregnant, full-term baby. And also a stalking charge because it showed for multiple hours her outside my house driving back and forth and so forth. Asked me if I wanted to move forward with pressing charges. I said, can I talk about this with my husband when he gets home? He said, yes, here's my card, give me a call back. You do only have a certain amount of time to move forward with this if you decide. My husband comes home. He already knew about everything. I called him crying, emotional, pregnant wreck at what just happened, terrified that the kids are going to hate me because it all kind of really happened fast. And I don't know why they would hate me. I just genuinely was like, oh God, this is a trauma. Like they hang out with me one time and shit hits the fan, right? So he already knew everything, but he gets home, he's looking at the camera footage, and he was like, so what are you gonna do? And I was like, I don't think I'm gonna press charges on her. Like, I'm fine. Baby's fine. I don't want to ruin her life. Double battery felony, stalking, like, you know, she acted out of emotion. I was genuinely trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Like, 1,000%. Wrong idea. She has proceeded to act in similar fashion, not physically violent, but when I tell you that she was not acting out of emotion and she was not acting out of character, she was dead on. She was spot on. Like that is her. She later on proceeded to convince the kids. They were super young. I was very new to their world. Still, like, it hadn't been years or anything. But she proceeded to convince him that it was all my fault. I'm a bad person. I was trying to kidnap them. I was trying to keep them from her. What else? I shoved her. She didn't shove me. I shoved her. Yeah. It was wild. Like, it was so wild. Obviously, they're kids, they're impressionable. So, like, when their mom is saying something, like, oh, mom said it, it must be true. So it kind of stuck for a little bit, but, like, once they came back to us and we could sense that, like, they were acting weird or different to me, and we're like, hey, what's going on? Like, what are you thinking? How do you feel? What's going on? And they kind of just thought it was like, hey, my mom said you're a bad person and you tried to fight her that night. And I'm like, were we at the same place at the same time? Did you see what I saw? Like, what? And we politely and childlike, because we don't talk to our kids about adult things, but in an instance like that where we do kind of just need to set the story straight, but in a child-friendly manner, we just kind of corrected them while also not bashing their mom, and essentially just tried to get the story straight. But yeah, that wasn't the first trauma I ever had from her, but that's definitely a core memory. So let me know if you guys want to hear more, because Mama's got a lot to unpack.
Story time about how I got arrested my freshman year. Disclaimer, this was before Jesus changed and saved my life, and I only share this to show people that Jesus really can change people's lives. So I've already made a video like this, but I didn't really add like any context. So for some context, I was extremely depressed and I was struggling with so many things at a young age because of some things I had went through, and I was extremely depressed and I was like trying to do things and find things to fulfill me. And like the summer before my freshman year is when I started smoking, I think. Smoking weed. I don't know if I can say that. Or maybe it was the beginning of freshman year. I don't really remember the timeline. So I had started smoking and I was only smoking like on weekends, and then I started smoking after school, and like I was hiding this from my family, I was hiding this from my parents and everything. Like I was raised in a church and everything, like nobody knew. So yeah. At this point, my freshman year, I had almost been smoking for a year already, and I was addicted. Like, let me tell you, I was crazy without it. Like, I was smoking every morning, I was smoking before school, and then eventually I would start taking pens to school. And I had a lot of questions on my last video I made like this. It was weed, Benjamin weed, I think it's called a Benjamin, I don't even know. It's a vape, but it has weed in it, and I was also vaping. So I was taking those to school for a while now, like, it was a regular, and I would meet with my friend, I think it was first period, in the same bathroom every day, and we would go in the stall together, like, even if we weren't hitting that or whatever. So we were in the stall together, getting high, as we did every single day, and it was closer to the end of the year, so I wasn't really, like, worried about it, and I wasn't, like, you know, like, I was high in school, everyone knew. So we're in the stall, and there's, like, a lot of people in there doing the same thing, I'm pretty sure, but out of the stall. I never did that publicly. Like, I didn't want everyone knowing and hitting my stuff, so I was in the stall with my friend. And then, like, everyone goes out, and we're like, what the heck? Because the bell didn't ring or anything, so everyone runs out. We hear, like, the assistant principal, I'm not even sure, say, okay, girls, come out, talking to us. So we came out, and they said, you're gonna have to get searched, which was so random because, like, even if you got caught in a stall together, why are you gonna have to get searched? Because, like, it wasn't obvious that we were smoking. So we're washing our hands, and literally, mind you, this morning, my sister used to smoke. Jesus also changed her. But that morning, she dropped me off at school, and I had a bunch of burnt pins in my backpack, and she was like, you want me to throw those away for you? And I was like, no, I'll do it after school. Okay, so I had a full one that I got that morning. I had a vape, and I had, like, 4 burnt ones in my bag. So that's, like, 6 things in all in my bag. And I'm, like, freaking out, trying to hide them, and I did not know what to do. So I'm washing my hands, and she's watching us, obviously. So I'm, like, slowly getting them out on the way to the office, and, like, trying to hide them, and I put some in my bra, and I put some like in my pants waistband. And we get to the office, and I think my friend goes first, and they didn't find anything on her, obviously, because it was my stuff. Well, then I go, and like they check my bag and everything, and they check me, and they're like, okay, you're good. And then she's like, oh wait, what's that in your waistband? And he's looking at it, and they're like, we're gonna have to call the cops. Go watch part 2 because this video is getting long. Part 2 about how I got arrested my freshman year. Disclaimer, this was before Jesus changed and saved my life. So I'm in the office, and they checked me, and they called the cops and whatever, so I'm freaking out. I'm like, the cops? Like, I think my mom, like, kind of knew, but she probably didn't know that I was doing it every day, and it was, like, a extreme addiction and problem. So, yeah. The cops get there and say, this is a felony. They only had the burnt ones. They didn't find the full one, they didn't find my vape, because those were my bra, but they found the 3 burnt ones, and they said that it's a felony. Like, I don't know how, because you can buy it at the local vape shop here, I think, unless I was getting it somewhere else, I don't even know. So they say it's a felony, and they handcuffed me and arrested me, and of course it's during passing period, so everyone's watching me get arrested, and it's terrible, so embarrassed. And then we get to the police station, and they were being very rude. Like, I had glasses, and I was handcuffed still, and like my glasses fell off on the floor, and he's like, pick them up. I can't. Anyway, I go to the bathroom at some point, and I'm literally hitting my pen still, because they didn't find the full one. I don't know why I was doing that in jail. Like, I was stressing out. So I come out, and there's an officer, and they're like waiting for me. And I'm like, my eyes are really red because I've been crying. And she believed me somehow, and I did flush my vape, though, because it was burnt anyway. So I flushed my vape, and I had my pen, because I just got it that morning, so I wasn't going to throw that away. So then they call my parents, and we go to the probation office at some point, and we're waiting for Mom to get there so we can talk. I do have a felony on my record to this day until I'm 19, unless I got, like, pulled over or got arrested for something else, and I would have a felony for the rest of my life, but it gets expunged when I'm 19. Thank the Lord. So my mom gets there. I felt like a complete disappointment, obviously, because I just got arrested in school. Like, how embarrassing. And they told her, like, that I have to be on probation now, and I'm going to DAP, and I have to be inside the house at 5 p.m., like, all that jazz. I went home, and I literally thought that my whole life was over, because I smoked so much weed, I couldn't even function without it. And now it's summer. Like, I did, like, 15 days of DAP, which is, I don't know what that stands for, but it's, like, a different school for, like, ISS, but it's out of school, and it's a long period of time. So I had to do that, and I finished probation, and that summer, Jesus actually changed my life. I just want to share this to everyone so they know that Jesus can truly save anyone, and more things did happen, like, throughout my life up to this point, but Jesus has never once failed me, and he always shows up. He is so faithful. Anyway, thanks for watching.
Get ready with me while I tell you the story and how I found out I was pregnant at 61 backwards. I've told you guys this story before, but I have a lot of new people, and I keep getting comments about it, so I thought I would make a new video. Starting off May of sophomore year, I ended up missing my period. And I'm the type of person to never miss my period. I always got it at the same time each month, so I knew something was up. The reason why I didn't get a pregnancy test right away is because I was having cramps, so I thought my period was going to start, so I kept pushing it off. But 12 days later, I still haven't got my period, so finally one day after work, I went and I picked up a pregnancy test on my way home. Basically, I get home, I eat dinner, and then the whole time I was eating dinner, I was thinking about it. So right after dinner, I ran upstairs to my room. I looked how to take the pregnancy test. And the pack I bought, there was a digital one, and then there was a normal, like, line one. I take the digital one first, come back in my room, and I wait for the test results for like 5 minutes because I was contemplating on flipping it over because I was literally terrified. I filmed me finding out I was pregnant, and in the video, I literally said, I don't think I'm pregnant. I would have a gut feeling if I was. Right after that, I flipped it over, and all it said was yes. I can't even explain what went through my mind. I was terrified, to say the least. So I sent that same exact video of me finding out to my two best friends, Brooklyn and Maya, and then I also sent it to Simeon, which now that I'm looking back at it, I feel like it was a big mistake to not take the test when he was here, or at least be on FaceTime. Maya actually found out in a TJ Maxx bathroom. In Brooklyn, she found out as she was going into volleyball. After I decided to take the other test, because in my mind, I was putting the fact that it could be a false positive. It indeed was not a false positive. I took the other one and the line showed up right away within 2 seconds. At this point, my cousin Maddie was staying with us, so I ran downstairs and I told her. I stayed down there for a while just because I was so scared to tell my mom. So fun fact, I found out literally 30 minutes before arena scheduling opened, which is me scheduling my classes for the following year. So while I was downstairs with Maddie, I was scheduling my classes, but I actually didn't even schedule second and third try because I already knew that I wanted to keep the baby. A few days come around, I had a physical, like for my doctor's appointment. So at the doctor's office, I asked my mom to step out of the room and I pulled out the test. My doctor was so sweet about it. She gave me a hug. She told me everything was going to be okay. But she did tell me that I had to tell my mom that day. I really said okay, but I didn't want to be the one to tell her. I took another pregnancy test at the doctor's office and I said, if it comes back positive, can you just take my mom into a different room and tell her that way? It obviously came back positive, and she pulled my mom into a different room and they were gone for a solid 25 minutes. That my mom came into the room, like, you have a lot that's going to change and you have to think about your options. She was not trying to tell me what to do in the situation. She just wanted me to know that I did have options. I told her I already know what I'm doing. I'm keeping this baby. I'm not letting anyone tell me differently. After that, the topic didn't really get brought up for a few weeks just because I feel like everyone was in such denial. Alright, I'm finished getting ready. I am on my way to school now. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a good day.
You will not believe what just happened to me. I am going to paint you a picture. I'm in the gym. I have my bag and my water bottle and all my stuff next to a Smith machine, right? The gym is dead. I'll insert a video I took. The gym is dead. I have all my stuff on the Smith machine. I have my weights on there. It's loaded up, ready to go. Okay. I'm about 10 feet away from the Smith machine and I'm warming up, activating my glutes, which if you're not doing that, you needed to be doing that. And I'm doing my booty band side kicks. I'm filming it because you know I film for TikTok and Instagram Reels. Like, I make fitness content. That's what I do. And I film me doing my side kicks and I'm on my phone watching the 30-second video of me doing like 30 reps of the side kicks, however long the video was, and making sure I got a good angle, making sure the lighting was good, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, that looks great. I'm dancing, I have my headphones on, I'm peaceful, I'm in the zone. I go to the Smith machine, literally 10 feet away, and I see this old man, probably in his 70s, and he's taking off my weight. And I say so nicely, I'm like, oh, sir, I'm on that. He goes, how many more sets do you have? And I said, I was so taken back. He was so aggressive. And I said, oh, I haven't even started. He goes, are you just going to be on your phone the whole time? How many more sets do you have? How many sets are you going to do? And I was like 3. Well, if you're going to be on your phone the whole time, then I'm just going to take it. And then I said, me being on my phone is none of your business. And then he was like, well, you need to get off your phone, and blah, 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 like kept bitching at me. And I said, I do this for work. Like I said, I'm working, even though I'm like manifesting that I do this for work, even though I don't get paid. But I was like, I'm working right now. He was like, you should have seen the look on his face. He was like, what? You're working? You need to be on the Smith machine, like blah, blah, blah. And then he said something. I had my Beat headphones on. The music wasn't on, but they're noise cancellation headphones. So he said something. He goes, blah, 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 yellow shorts. And I wore yellow shorts to the gym the other day. And it triggered me because I'm like, why is this old man, one, commenting, is that even a word? Commenting on what I'm wearing to the gym, but two, why does he remember what I wore to the gym the other day? And three, why is he looking so hard at me like that he remembers my yellow shorts? And four, why does it bother him so much that I wore the yellow shorts that he's bringing it up today? I don't even remember what I wore yesterday to the gym. Why is this old man, 70-year-old man, remembering what I wore to the gym the other day? Like, that's creepy as fuck. It made me feel so uncomfortable. So it triggered me and I snapped, and he went to his little machine that he was on before, and I stood right in front of him and I said, what did you say? He goes, I didn't stutter, you heard me. And I said, I had my headphones on, I didn't hear you. If you're gonna say something, say it to my face. He stands up so close to me, he spit in my face and said, back up. It gets worse. I felt so threatened. These are the words that came out of my mouth. I said, what are you going to do to me? And he goes, you know what? Get out. This is what they're going to do. They're going to kick you out. And then he walks. So then I just follow him. I'm like walking. I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm in middle school going to like the fucking principal's office. That's what I fucking feel like. Like, I'm in the gym. You came over to me. You're ruining my peace. And now you're fucking up my workout. And then I go in and talk to the manager at the gym. And I told him my story. I'm crying. I'm like, I don't understand why he's commenting about my outfit. I don't know why he's being so aggressive. The gym is dead. Personally, let me know in the comments what you would do. Personally, when I go to the gym and someone is like on the Smith machine and I want to start with RDLs on the Smith machine, I reprogram my whole workout and I do other things. And say I can do that next leg workout or I'll do that later. Like, I don't go up to someone and interrupt them and say, how many more sets do you have? I'm not at the gym at peak time at 5 p.m. I'm not at the gym where it's crazy and crowded and somebody's in a rush and trying to get shit done. Like, I literally was on my phone watching a video that I just filmed because I was supersetting and it bothered him that much and he was so aggressive and rude to me. We talked to the manager separately, and then the manager was like, I'm not going to kick you out, but you need to keep your head down. And I said, that's all I do in this gym, is I come in, my head's down, I film, I do my thing, and I leave. Like, I don't talk to anyone. Like, all these people come up to me and disrespect me, and then I'm the problem. And he's like, I'm not fighting with you. I have so many things to do. This is not what I'm doing right now. You're not listening. If you don't listen, then you're going to get kicked out. You need to keep your head down. So then I just said, fine. Like, I literally feel like I'm in middle school. I don't know if it's just where I live. I live in an island where people retire, so I'm with a bunch of fucking Karens, and I've already said that in a previous video before. But, like, all the ladies in the locker room give me looks when I'm in a sports bra and shorts. They roll their eyes at me. One lady literally shook her head at me, looked at me dead in the eyes, rolled her eyes, shook her head, and walked away. Like, people bully me here. Like, it's not kind. And all I do is I walk in, I have my music on, I'm ready to film, I'm ready to push myself, and I leave. And I've been a member at this gym. This is a long story time. I've been a member at this gym before that manager has come here. I have been a member at this gym since I was 16 years old and I'm now 28. Do the math. I have been at this gym for over a decade. I have been nothing but loyal to this gym, pay my membership every fucking month. I deserve to be here, and then I get treated like that. And it's so crazy because if you follow me, you know I'm on this path with God now, and I'm getting closer to Jesus and God, and I just feel like the devil works through people, and he's trying to work through all these people to just disrupt me and disturb my peace and make me go crazy and like make my life more chaotic. Like, I swear that's what's going on, and it's the craziest thing, and I feel the energy, and it's evil fucking energy, and I rebuke that energy, and I just need to pray right now. So please let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, because I feel like I'm just going crazy.
Storytime how I found out I was pregnant at 31 backwards. Okay, it was a Sunday before Halloween, or like the week of Halloween, but it was a Sunday going into that week. I had started gaining weight, like kind of like fast, I guess, but I thought I was just bloated. But then I like the cat food, because I have cats, it started smelling really bad, and I told my mom, and then in September I didn't get my period, so I was like, okay, like I'm gonna like tell my mom, but I didn't think I was pregnant.
And so, like, I told her, and I don't really know what she thought of it, but then, like, a couple weeks later, she was like, okay, like, we're gonna get a pregnancy test as we were walking into Walmart, and I had told her, I was like, no, like, because I didn't think I was pregnant, because I had really irregular periods. So we were walking around Walmart. I didn't really think she was, like, gonna actually get the test or anything, because I had told her no, because I didn't think I was pregnant. Like, I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't have just missed my period for a month if I was pregnant. Because my periods were also very irregular, guys. So just keep that in mind for this whole story. So at the end of us shopping, she was like, okay, we're gonna go get a pregnancy test. And I was like, okay. Like, I don't know. I was kind of freaking out, but, like, at the same time, I wasn't, because I was like, no, I don't think I'm pregnant. Like, this is gonna come back negative. Everything's gonna be okay. So we get home, we have the pregnancy test, and I didn't think that she was gonna make me take the test, because, like, it was, like, I don't know, an hour and a half later, and I still didn't get told to take the test or anything. But then she pulled laundry out of the dryer, and she went into her room, and she called me in there. And since she has the master bedroom, the bathroom and bedroom connect, and so she was folding laundry, and she told me to take the test. So, you know, I did my little thing. I set it on the counter. We were waiting. It had been, like, I don't know, 2-ish minutes, and I got, like, she told me to look at it, and I said, oh, like, it looks like it's negative, but there's, like, a faint line. So she, like, rushed over to me, and then she said, go get your dad, because he was, like, in the living room sitting on the couch, and I have no idea if he knew I was taking this test or not. So I go get him, he goes in, he's like, what am I looking at? And my mom was like, what do you think that says? And he was like, well, I don't know. And she was like, I think it says positive. Go to part 2. Part 2 to how I found out I was pregnant at 31 backwards. Go watch part 1 if you already haven't. Otherwise, this is going to make absolutely no sense. Okay, so my dad came in, and, like, he was like, what am I looking at? And my mom was like, what do you think that says? And he was like, well, like, I don't know. Because, like, I don't know, boys, why would a boy know? I don't know. And then she was like, I think it says positive. And then, like, we kind of just had, like, a little conversation. And then I was, like, trying to convince them that it said, like, negative, because I didn't think it said positive, because, like, it was a faint line, and I was like, oh, yeah, like, I know that, like, if your pee sits on it too long, that it will, like, start showing a line. I don't know if that makes any sense. So a couple hours had passed, and I thought it was just kind of, like, left or whatever, because, I don't know, I thought it said negative, I thought I convinced them it said negative, yada yada. The next morning comes, my mom texted me good morning, because, like, I don't know, she always does, because she goes to work, like, pretty early in the morning when I'm usually not up. So I texted her good morning back, and then she was like, how are you feeling? And I was like, I'm feeling fine. Like, I don't know. Then she had me go take the second test, because it was the first response that came with 2 tests. And I went and took the second test, and it immediately showed up with a positive, but at the time, again, I was still trying to convince myself it was negative. And she was like, okay, like, I want to see a picture, because she was like, how does it look? And I was like, it just looks the same. So I sent her a picture, and then she said, okay, we're gonna go run an errand. And, like, I don't really know what I thought. I was just kind of like, whatever, like, okay, we're just gonna go run an errand. So I get ready. She was like, be ready by, like, 10:30. I can't exactly remember, because, guys, this was, like, 5 months ago. So I get in the car, and then she said that we were going to the clinic. So we're driving to the clinic, and I signed a bunch of paperwork and everything there, and it took literally forever. So I didn't think that I was gonna end up, like, taking a test that day or anything, or I didn't even know exactly what they were gonna do. But so I signed all the paperwork. They had me go up, and they, like, take a picture of your face or whatever for, like, your ID on their part of the like, screen on the computer, I guess. And then they called me back, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna have you, like, pee in this little, like, those, like, little cup things. And then I put it in they have, like, a door thing that you put it in. And then they took me into a counseling room. And when they took me into the counseling room, I was kind of, like, scared, because I was like, okay, why am I in this room? And then I had asked the lady that I was in there with, like, if my mom had to be in the room, because, like, I was really scared. And she went out, and she asked the nurse, and the nurse was like, yeah, she has to be in the room, like, she's a minor. And by that point, I feel like I already knew what it was gonna say. I started connecting the dots, me gaining weight, all of that, and I was like, okay. So they brought my mom in, and then we were kind of just, like, sitting there waiting for the nurse while we were talking to the counselor. And then the nurse comes in, and she was just like, it's positive. And I I don't even know what I did, like, to be honest. I just looked down and I said, oh. I don't know what my mom was doing. I'm pretty sure she probably looked at me. So I'm bawling my eyes out. They take me into, like, they have an ultrasound room, and she was talking to me, and she was, like, trying to tell me, like, okay, you need to take these prenatal vitamins, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I did not know what any of this meant. I was freaking out. I didn't know what my mom was gonna think, and then I started having, like, a mental breakdown, and she was just, like, rubbing my back, and I was like, is she not mad? Go to part 3. Part 3 to how I found out I was pregnant at 31 backwards. Go watch part 1 and part 2 so that you understand the story a little bit more. So she's sitting there rubbing my back, and then, like, the nurse got done talking to me and all that, and then my mom, like, set up an appointment for an ultrasound the next day, and I was crying, so I asked her if I could go into the car, and so I go into the car, and then she comes in, and she was, like, trying to talk to me or whatever, and I wasn't talking to her because I was freaking out, I was scared, I was crying, I was not in the right mindset. So we get home, I go to my room, and I did not say one word to anybody, and then my dad comes in because she had told him what it said, and he was, like, crying, and he was trying to comfort me, and he was like, it's gonna be okay, and all that fun stuff. And then we went into the living room after, like, I kind of calmed down, and he and my mom were like, okay, like, how are we gonna do this? Like, we need to get you signed up for, like, WIC and all that fun stuff. So I was calling a bunch of people. My mom was just giving me random numbers and was just like, okay, call this person. I didn't even know what to say to them. The next day I had an appointment for an ultrasound scheduled at the same place. I had told my boyfriend at the time that I wanted him to be there because, well, hello, like, it's our kid. And I didn't want to be alone, and so I told my mom, like, that he was gonna come. We go into the room, and, like, him and his mom had to wait in the, like lobby or waiting area or whatever you want to call it. And when they were waiting, like, they started the ultrasound just so they could, like, find my baby, and then they told them that they could come in, and they came in. I was in so much shock seeing that there was a baby inside of me, so I didn't talk to him, his mom, or my mom. I was just straight staring at the TV. Or, like, yeah, because that's what they do, the ultrasound, like, they connect it to the TV. And then his mom was like, is that the baby? And my mom was like, yeah. And she started crying, and so my mom was, like, rubbing her back or whatever, trying to get her to, like, calm down, as I'm literally having a mental breakdown on the bed thing. I have no idea what he was doing. He was standing by the door. So his mom got a little overwhelmed, and they walked out. Well, because she said she couldn't do it. So they both walked out because, like, she was crying and everything. They left. The ultrasound finished. I was having a mental breakdown. They were trying to show me, like, what my baby, like, looked like, because they had, like, little dolls that were, like, for each week or whatever, like, each trimester, I guess. They had told me that I was 19 weeks and 5 days pregnant. That was a shock because I was like, how? Like, I had my period, all that. I'm pretty sure it was implantation bleeding. So we go home. I'm crying because I didn't understand why they walked out. I was, again, not in the right mindset. Go to part 4 on how I found out I was pregnant. Part 4 on how I found out I was pregnant at 31 backwards. Go watch part 1, part 2, and part 3. Otherwise, this is, again, gonna make no sense. So he was, like, texting me, and, like, I was crying. I was trying to figure out what was going on. He was, like, texting me whatever he was texting. I can't really remember. And then since him and his mom walked out on my ultrasound, me and my mom made the decision that it would be best if he wasn't involved because he shouldn't have walked out, neither should his mom. My mom definitely made most of the decision because she's my adult and I have to listen to her. But again, I was pretty upset. So then police and everything did get involved because of some things, and they had told us that we're not allowed to talk, we're not allowed to have any contact or anything, otherwise, like, things are gonna happen. And I went through my whole pregnancy, and now my baby is here. I'm not gonna show him because I don't show his face on here anymore. But that was how I found out I was pregnant at 31 backwards, and I am now 14 with my sweet baby boy. and he's gonna be a month in like a couple days.
My husband passed away 3 years ago, and over the last few weeks, I've been sharing stories on how that came to be, what led up to it. Today, I'm going to talk about a story that happened about 6 months before he passed away, where we were going on a trip to Great Wolf Lodge with our boys. This would have been in October timeframe. It was the day before our trip, and he came down sick. He had a fever. He wasn't feeling good at all, and I had to go into work. There was no way around it. There's some HR things I had to do at my job, and I had to go in. So he said, well, I want you here. I need you to take care of me, and I don't feel good, so I need you to hurry up. And I said, okay. So I go into work. I get everything done, and about 12 o'clock, I end up leaving. I said, I'll just get everything done when I get home that I didn't get finished, that I can finish at home. On the way home, I thought to myself, wait a minute, we're going on this trip tomorrow, and I don't think I have any swimming trunks for the boys. Like, that might be something I need to get. And this was before Amazon could do like same day or overnight shipping, basically, especially where I live, because we live in the country. So I stop at the Goodwill, because that's the only place that I can think of to get swimming trunks in the fall, because by this time, all the summer stuff had been gone. So I stop at the Goodwill, and I wasn't in there 2 minutes before he calls me. He had been sleeping up until now. He sees my location and where I'm at, and he says, why are you at Goodwill? Why are you out shopping? And I said, I'm here to get some swimming trunks. He said, I don't believe you. I think that you've been shopping all day and you were lying to me. You were supposed to be here taking care of me, and you're selfish. So he cusses me a little bit, and then he hangs up on me, and I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, I'm just going to leave. I didn't get anything. I just walked out immediately and headed home. When I got home, he was on the couch watching a movie with our middle son, and he was watching Star Wars. And I sit down on the couch, and I don't say anything because I don't want to make him any more upset. And I see out of the corner of my eye that he is giving me the death stare. He is looking at me like he wants to absolutely kill me. And I am just like, I don't understand why he's so angry at me. He doesn't even look that sick, first of all, but regardless, like, why would I lie about that? I had to go to work. Anyway, so he turns the volume up on the TV, and he gets up. And I'm like, I'm looking like, what is he going to do? He comes over in front of me and he says, get up. And I'm like, why? He said, don't ask why, get up. So I get up, he picks me up, puts me over his shoulders, and he starts to carry me into the bedroom. And our middle son's like, what are you doing, Pops? Or he didn't call him Pops. He's like, what are you doing, Dad? I call my dad Pops. He's like, what are you doing, Dad? And he ignores him. And I'm saying, put me down. What are you doing? Put me down. And he takes me in the bedroom, and he locks the door, and he unleashes on me. First, he makes me strip my clothes off, and he starts to hit me with a rubber hammer. The rubber hammer, he wasn't hitting me hard enough to break any bones, because then, of course, we would have to go to the doctor, and he would have to speak on it, and he doesn't want to do that for sure. But he's hitting me hard enough to really bruise me and really, really hurt me bad. The stripping down thing was a thing that he had done in the last year a couple times. That was like a new thing that he did to make me, because I'm cold. I get cold all the time, and he knew that would make me cold. Then he starts thinking to himself, what are some things that I can break of hers that she loves? He's saying this out loud. What can I break of yours that I know you love? Since you don't love me and you're so selfish, you're such a bitch, I'm going to break things that you love. So the first thing he does is he finds some of my jewelry. I had on a mama necklace that was gold, and I had a bracelet on that was gold. He rips those off me and breaks them. He breaks some of my perfume. Then he starts taking the hammer and hitting my bed. Now, this bed I loved. I invested some money into it, and I thought it was a beautiful headboard, and he starts bashing it. Now, I posted pictures of it yesterday. Then I'm like, why are you doing this? At this point, I'm begging him, please stop doing this. Like, this is not okay. You promised me you would never hurt me again. You would never hurt our things. Our son is in the other room. Like, please stop doing this. I said, you married me. You gave me this ring. You married me. I should have never said that, because he was like, oh, I gave you that ring, right? I said, yeah. He said, take it off. I took it off. I didn't think he was going to do anything with it, but he started hitting it with the rubber hammer. Now, it's a diamond, so the diamond's not going to break, but the diamond just flies somewhere, and he smashes the platinum band and the thing that holds it up, which I also posted a picture of that yesterday. So I'm like, I'm completely dumbfounded. I cannot believe it. He punches a big hole in the wall, and then he starts putting all the things that he's broken, minus the ring, because that went, who knows, all over the room. putting stuff in the wall, all the things of mine that he had broken. He's like, you're never going to get to these. You're never going to be able to find these things or fix them. I'm going to take everything that you love away from you because this is how you make me feel when you are so selfish. And I'm just like, I made a decision right then and there that I can't do this anymore and I've got to find a way out. I've got to create a plan. But of course, I didn't know what the plan was going to be because I was really scared of him. Again, I love him so much because this is not how he was all the time, but there would be those triggers where he would just flip a switch and it was just another person. So that's not the only thing though, because then he makes me get in the shower. And from there, he makes me get in the shower with cold water. And then I'm painting, so I couldn't finish the story in the car. So I get in the shower with cold water, and he says, if you cry, if you make any noise where the boys can hear you, I will knock your teeth out. And I believed him. He leaves me in there, and I'm crying under my breath. I'm trying so hard not to cry loudly. I'm shaking. I'm freezing cold. My body hurts all over. And he goes in the other room, and he comes back with a pitcher of ice water. Now, I'm already in the shower, freezing cold with cold water, trying to stay out of the water because I don't want to be cold, but when I heard him coming, I got back in the water, and then he dumps it all over me, and I was like I lose my breath. Oh, I can lose my breath now just thinking about it. And he says, take that. That's how you make me feel when you're so selfish and you're such a bitch that you don't love me or care about me when I'm sick. And I'm just like, I love you so much. Why would you do this? This is crazy. And he's like, I want you to get out of the shower and I want you to put some clothes on and I want you to go out there and tell your kids that everything's okay because I don't want them knowing what's going on. And I'm like, okay. So I did because what else am I going to do? We ended up going to Great Wolf Lodge, but the whole time we were there, I can't get in the water because I'm bruised all over. So all the pictures I have of that trip, which is our last family trip, were him in the water with the boys while I was on the sidelines taking the videos and pictures because I had to be dressed head to toe. And mind you, Great Wolf Lodge on the inside where the indoor pools are, that's very humid in there. And I was sweating and so hot, I was so miserable. And he told me, he said, if you walk out here with a bathing suit on, if you walk out here with anything showing any skin, he said, I will leave and I will never come back and I will take the car with me. He said, I will leave you and the kids here and I will never come back. He said, nobody needs to know about this. And of course, that was the thing. And he scared me into submission where I didn't tell anybody, including, my own family for the most part. My dad didn't know. My brother didn't know. His brothers didn't know. His mom and dad knew a little bit about it, but towards the end, I really hid it from them because when they did try to intervene, that made it really worse for me because now that he knew that I talked to his family or his mom and dad, he unleashed that on me. So that became like that Rolodex of problems that he would bring up every time he would get mad at me. He would say, you ruined my name, my family, you're such a selfish bitch, blah, 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 that he would say that. So I just kept to myself. I didn't tell anyone because why would I? I'm just going to get it way worse. Thank goodness for my brother rescuing me that February or that March 2nd, because if it weren't for him, I would probably be dead. That's the reality. I still have plenty more stories to tell, and I'm not telling this for sympathy. Let me be very clear. This is the reality of abuse and unchecked mental health issues. I'm sharing it for people to know so that they can leave their situation if they're in this right now, or if they are the abuser and they need to get help. Please get help.
Get ready with me to go to court against my ex-husband. So we got divorced in 2024, and last May, I found out that we still owed federal taxes from when we were married, from 2022. So at this point, he and I were still cordial enough to talk, and I reached out to him and I let him know that we still had these taxes to pay, and I asked how he would like to get those taken care of, and he basically said it was my responsibility and he was not going to be paying them. And at this point, it was like a couple $1,000s each. So I reached out to him again in June once I had found some things out that changed what we owed, and he did not reply. So then I reached out to him again in July, and his response to my email, it basically was like, this is not my full responsibility. I need you to help me pay this. We can pay it in
little payments, we can do a lump sum, whatever works for you. I am happy to work with you on this, but please let me know, because if you're not willing to do this, then we're going to have to go to court and have our divorce decree enforced that basically says any debts within our own names are our own responsibilities. Well, this debt is in both of our names, therefore it's both of our responsibility. So his response to that was, if you go to court over this, I'm going to sue you and your family for the wrongful death of our child for the miscarriage that I had in 2019. I miscarried that baby at 11 weeks and we never had kids again, never got pregnant again. And the whole reason we got divorced is because he, for some reason, got it in his head that a medical issue I was dealing with in 2023, 2024 was my parents' fault for neglecting me when I was 14 years old, with like a medical condition that I had. And that's the reason that we had a miscarriage, and he wanted to sue my family and sue the doctor that I saw when I was 14 for medical malpractice. I disagreed to that. It led to fight after fight after fight to us getting divorced after he spent a night in jail. So fast forward, now we're here. Now we're going to court. We went back to court. We went to court in October last year, and they sent us to mediation to try and come to a conclusion on our own. We were not able to come to an agreement at mediation, which was not a fault of my own, I will tell you that. And so now we go back to court today. It was supposed to be last week, but he got an attorney last minute and we had to reschedule. So here we are. So basically, I've already paid over $1,700. I'm asking him to pay $1,700. There's also about $500 of accrued interest and fees that I would love to ask the court to have him pay, because this has been drug out so long by him. But I'm going to be willing to pay them if I have to. And he did get an attorney. She reached out to me to reschedule, but I have not heard back from her. So I'm really not sure where things stand now that he has an attorney. But I'm actually really glad, because I'm really hoping that she'll be able to just explain to him that it's his legal obligation to pay these joint taxes. So I'm a little bit nervous, but also I feel like I have my grandmothers on the other side over here protecting me. This is for the women that have dealt with men that have treated them poorly when they were supposed to love them. This is for all the women that have put up with years of prolonged financial, emotional, mental abuse, maybe even physical abuse. And I'm really trying to just make myself feel proud and confident that I wasn't allowing him to scare me out of this, because that's what he does, and that's what he tried to do. And he tried to threaten me with this lawsuit against my parents and me for a miscarriage of a child that was not preventable or my fault. And he's the type of man that just thinks you can bully people into submission, and I was not going to allow that. I've put up with enough over the last 10 years that I was with him, and I'm not going to allow myself to continue to be abused by him out of our marriage. So wish me luck. I'm so much happier in my life now, and I'm getting ready to go out of town this weekend, so it'd be really great to go on vacation and not have to take the stress of this with me. So fingers crossed it all goes well. My dad is coming with me, which is great because he hates my dad, and there's nothing he can do about it. So yeah, sue me, bitch. Pay your taxes. Let's go. I won. Part 2
of taking my ex-husband to court over unpaid taxes and him threatening to sue me for my miscarriage. My last video has blown up. It has gone viral, and I did not anticipate that, but everybody has been wanting an update. So I have an update, and I have a little show and tell letter from him. So let me update you on how court went, and then we'll get into this. I'm also getting ready for work, so get ready with me again. Alright, so Reader's Digest version, for anybody that's seeing this now, you can also go look at the video that I posted before this, and you can get the longer version. But essentially, my ex-husband and I owe federal taxes from 2022. He refused to help me pay them. And when I said, okay, well, if you're not going to help me pay them, then I guess we're going to have to go to court and let the judge enforce this, he told me that he was going to sue me and my family for a miscarriage that I had in 2019, which is also the reason that we ended up getting a divorce. So, little tidbit, little fun fact about that. When I had my miscarriage, we were in the hospital. We had already had our first appointment and seen the heartbeat, and we were there for our 11-week checkup, and the doctors told us there was no heartbeat. We had a miscarriage, and we had the option of using like the pill to try and pass it, or we could do a DNC. So he was a sports coach, and I'm trying to keep identifiable information out of this just for my own protection. He is a big time sports fan of a very specific sport and coached that high school sport. So on this day of my miscarriage, he was getting ready to go to practice, and my appointment was at 3, his practice was at 4, and he was like already anxious to get out of there, and I had told him, you know, if you want to go, you can go, and he stayed. But when they told us that there was no heartbeat, he was like, are you gonna be okay? And he gave me a hug, and he left. Literally, not even 5 minutes after they told us my baby had died. He left, and he went to practice, and he was gone for 4 hours. I was locked out of my house because my cousin had our house key. We had been out of town prior, and she was house sitting, so she had the key. He had the garage door opener. So I was locked out of my house for 4 hours. I went and saw a movie by myself, and then when he came home, he went to sleep, and I labored and passed everything that night by myself. So that was something that I told him I could never forgive him for. So that's kind of an interesting little tidbit, considering now he's all worked up about this miscarriage, because at the time he seemed like he didn't care at all. So that's a fun little side note. So we get to court. My dad and I walk in. I did not have an attorney. He had hired one the week before court. We had to reschedule to a week later. And when she had reached out to me to reschedule, I told her all I want from this man is for him to pay his half of the taxes and leave me alone. And when she asked, by leave me alone, does that also mean referring to a message that he had sent my best friend to forward on to me for my birthday? And it was like we've said some really hurtful things to each other in this last year. For that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I called your boyfriend Joe Dirt White Trash. I just want to come to a solution together at this next court hearing, and you know how much birthdays matter to me, so here's a gift card for Crumble Cookie on me. So he forwarded me a gift card for Crumble Cookie, which I then passed along to a family in need, because I did need that. Anyway, so yeah, I said, please tell him I don't want any more contact. I've blocked him on all my social media. I've had to block his friends. I don't want to hear from him anymore. And if he continues to try and find out what's going on in my life and continues to contact me, then I'm going to file a protective order. That also matters when it gets to this. Okay. So we get into court. His attorney pulls me aside, and she said, at this point, he is not willing to settle to pay his taxes. He is saying that if you agree to pay his half of the taxes, he will not sue you for your miscarriage. And then she handed me this letter. She said, I advised against it, but he insisted. So it was really straightforward. We got in front of the judge. I got to go first. I got to lay out all of the things that I was
requesting and why. He got to reply, but his attorney spoke for him, and then I got to rebuttal that. And then the judge made the decision, and she said, I see both of your names and both of your social security numbers on this tax debt, so it's both of your responsibilities. I have already paid over $1,700 of my half, so I asked that he also pay $1,700 of his half, and then we are required to split the interest, which is like $225 each. And that was it. So that's essentially what happened. The judge ordered it. It's due before April, before the next tax season, and I was able to say that I won. So that was exciting. And then I got in my car and I opened up his letter. So let's read that together, but I have to get ready for work, so let me hurry and just get a little further into my makeup here. Okay, here we go. This is from him, and there's little things in there. Okay, he gave me a chess piece, a pawn, and 2 little checker pieces. Are you ready for this? Here we go. Story time. We're gonna read together. Also, it's like chicken scratch, so good thing I'm a teacher and can read things. Allie, if you're reading this, you are talking to my attorney. I indeed have an attorney who, insert name of person he knows, recommended me to, who does indeed have experience in these type of negligence cases. We are prepared, whether you settle or not, to file a lawsuit towards you and your parents. We came across a case strangely identical to yours, where the ex-husband sued his ex-wife and parents for $6 million. They had 3 miscarriages, $2 million per child, and won the lawsuit. I would highly advise you to end this. For me to hear you say you'll get a protective order for me to give you cookies for your birthday, that was just the cherry on top. I really don't understand why you are so bitter about this. I was simply doing something nice. As you can see, I added a gift. 1 chess piece that is a pawn, and 2 checker pieces. You know my saying, while everyone else is playing checkers, I'm playing chess. All I've done is move a pawn around while you're playing checkers. The real question is, are you sure you want to go down this road? I am prepared, and I will always be 5 steps ahead of you in any direction. Let's be done with each other. This is hurting you, I can tell. I want to move on from you. I really wish you the best, Allie. I really do. Just know I'm prepared for whatever happens today. Take care, Allie. Know I was trying to do you a solid at the time when we were married. Signed, him. That was his letter. Okay, fun stuff. So, I guess we'll see if he goes that route. I'm not really that worried about it. All of that being said, I have kept myself quiet through this whole process. I haven't posted anything about the situation. I have tried to deal with it gracefully and in peace. And I'm to the point now where I'm not scared to point out the things that happened in my life and say, this wasn't okay. And I can tell you now that I have the most beautiful relationship with a wonderful man who treats me like a queen and shows me every day how worthy I am of love and devotion and protection. And it's just incredible. And so I'm going to post this video and then move on with my life. It's been almost 2 years and I'm so ready to just move forward and be done with him and be done with this madness and just enjoy all of the goodness that has come from choosing myself and starting over and setting my boundaries. So for all of you wonderful, beautiful women out there who have been so supportive, if you are in a relationship where you're being drained, where you're being stressed, where you're being abused or taken advantage of, and you're unhappy, leave. You do not need that person in your life. You can do so much more for yourself, and there is somebody out there that will love you and treat you like the queen that you are, and you deserve to go find that. So have the strength to care for yourself enough to walk away from something that's not serving you. And don't be afraid to speak up for yourself and defend yourself in situations that you should not have to be dealing with. My boyfriend and I are getting ready to go to King of the Hammers this week, which is like basically this like massive off-road racing event in California, and we'll be out there for the whole week, and it's just gonna be so much fun, and I get to go and just celebrate without all of the stress of this. So thank you for all of the support. It's mind-blowing that so many people have seen that, but I hope you all enjoyed this little story time. I guess maybe there'll be updates if he continues to pursue this lawsuit against me. Well, sorry, that cut out, but I had to finish getting ready and had to work. So anyway, I guess maybe we'll see if there's any updates, if something happens in the future. But as of right now, I'm a very, very, very happy girl, and I won. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Being an adult is so exciting because it's Monday and I'm going to go to work, and then next week I'm going to go to work too, and then the next week I might be crazy, take one day of PTO, and then go back to work.
Okay, I am making this video. I'm going to try my best not to get emotional and to only speak with clear facts, and I will show my findings at the end of this video and my evidence. So this is an incident that happened yesterday at my daughter's daycare, which she will not be attending anymore. It is the South Hill Kindercare in Spokane, Washington. The incident happened at 4:30 yesterday. I was waiting to make a video until I lodged complaints with CPS, DCYF, Board of Licensing, and Kindercare Corporate. So I took care of all of that this morning. Now it is 4 p.m. on March 26th, and hence why the video is getting made. So, sorry. Yesterday, when I'm on my way to pick up my daughter for ballet from her daycare, I look down at my phone and I see that I have a voicemail from my daughter's daycare. I'm driving, I'm not actively on my phone, so I missed the call. I call them back. They left a voicemail at 4:28 p.m. I call them back at 4:30 p.m. The center director answers, and she lets me know that my daughter, who is 3 years old, got out of the outside playground area and ran into oncoming traffic on Ray Street. Immediately, I cut her off because that's terrifying, and I say, "Oh my God, is she okay?" The center director sighs, and she says, "Yeah, Ava's fine. I'm just letting you know that she's suspended because she's not listening." So with her tone, with the incident that happened, I'm immediately getting mad, super upset. Mama Bear's coming out. So I say, "Okay, I'll be there in a moment," and I hang up the phone. I called my grandma, and I'm like, "Hey, please tell me if I'm in the wrong, because I understand, Ava's my only child. Maybe I'm being super helicopter parent, but this seems like it would 100% be on the daycare, and her getting suspended for it especially seems insane to me." So my grandma, redirects me. She tells me, like, "No, you're completely valid. That is insane. Go in there and you need to speak to them. You need to get Ava, and just good riddance." And I'm like, "Yep." I'm like, exactly what I was thinking. So I show up and I'm trying to calm myself down, because I'm a big girl. I'm 5'10", 200 pounds. I'm trying to handle this with couth and have decorum and have them not somehow paint me as aggressive or in the wrong in any way. That's my biggest fear. So I go in there, and the way that this center is set up, there's a front door that you need one passcode to get in. There's a second door that you also have to pass through that has a separate passcode from the front door. Inside of that second door is the center. So if you go right when you enter the door, there's 2 offices. There's the center director's office and the assistant center director's office. My daughter is standing right in front of the front door when I get there. No adults next to her. The gate to her classroom closed. She can't even get in there. So immediately I start getting upset again, because the only thing that you need to get out is push the door. There's no codes to get out. The doors aren't locked. So Ava very easily could have went out of those doors, ran into oncoming traffic again, and had a possibly fatal incident, because the fact that this wasn't fatal is by the grace of God. I prayed so hard last night after this, and I have not felt easy since this whole incident happened. So I'm immediately upset again. I take Ava's hand and we start going to her classroom. I'm looking back because I do see that there's a woman in the second office, not the office that Ava was next to, but in the second one. And I see that there's a lady in there. You can see her shadow and stuff. She not once notices that I came in. She doesn't notice that Ava's gone, because Ava didn't say "Mommy." She didn't jump on me. Nothing of the sort. She just slowly walked up to me and we both walked away. And I'm looking at that lady because I want her to notice that Ava's gone, because I want her to freak out and think, "Oh my God, maybe Ava ran outside." Because why if you are interested to take care of kids, are you not supervising them better? So I'm looking, about 2 minutes pass, she never once looks up. So then I make peace with that, not my circus, not my monkeys. I go to Ava's cubby and I'm immediately gathering all of her things because I know they think she's just suspended for 2 days. She is never coming back to this facility. I would never, ever let that happen again. So I'm gathering all of her things. The center director is in the classroom, and then finally she says something to me. And I did not engage with her because, frankly, I don't want to talk to her. I'm upset, and I think she knows that she's in the wrong. So eventually she goes, she's like, yeah, Ava's just not listening. And she's putting everything on Ava, my 3-year-old daughter, saying it's Ava's fault. She got out of the gate. A bystander actually is the one that got her. She didn't tell me this on the phone. She didn't tell me this in the voicemail. She's only telling me this in person, that a friendly neighborhood man is the one that got Ava and was able to bring him back. So that also upsets me because not even one of the teachers was able to get her. And also, Ava's a girl. Strange man got her. Doesn't make me feel very good. So then I just immediately just start looking down, grabbing all of Ava's things. I cannot believe she has so much stuff here. So then I'm like holding Ava's hand, and the director is just still, kind of saying the same things. Ava's not listening. She needs to leave. And I'm like, yeah, when I toured this facility in June, there were huge gray locks on all of the outside areas. I was like, so I'm just confused on how she got out. She looks at the teacher, looks back at me, and then she goes, yeah, Ava's just not listening. She completely disregards the question. So then I just go, okay, and I leave. I don't say bye. I don't say have a good day. I don't let her know that we're never coming back. I just say, okay, bye, and I leave. Once we get into the car, Ava starts complaining that her head hurts, her neck hurts, and she doesn't feel good. Not like Ava. So it's 5 p.m. at this point, and I'm like, fuck. I try to call CPS to lodge a complaint immediately because I know that this is wrong. I know that they need to be shut down. And the fact that they had no accountability is very scary as a parent. And go back to bed, baby. And I am just thinking, it turned out good for Ava. She was really shaken up after. But the fact that this could happen to someone else's child and so easily be a fatal incident, it doesn't sit right with me. So anyway, Ava's doing all this complaining, and then she falls asleep. 5 p.m. Not like her. So I immediately take her to the ER. I think she might have a concussion. I'm like, maybe she fell, because they weren't very forthcoming about all the details of the incident. Why would I put it past them to hide that she fell and hit her head? They also never gave me any type of incident report. They never once apologized. And they never said, like, this will never happen again, or this has never happened. Nothing of the sort. So I take her to the ER. My partner comes and sits with us after a bit, and she ends up getting cleared. She does not have a concussion. But I don't think that it's crazy for me to think that, And then while I'm in the waiting room, I'm looking all these things up, and we have like a KinderCare family packet. And in that packet, it says nothing about a child being suspended for escaping the grounds, or even like for bad behavior. There's nothing about that. Children can be expelled, I guess, if they are like a risk for other kids, but that's not how she is. So then I'm like, they just made up this whole fucking policy to suspend her. And I don't know. When I talked to KinderCare corporate, they took accountability. They said this is a horrible thing. But I don't trust them. I will never, ever let my daughter go to another KinderCare. And it's really hard, especially being a single mom and having a career. It feels impossible sometimes to find somewhere where you feel okay leaving your kids there. And I just hate that this happened, and I hate Ava had to go through that. I hate how fatal this could have been. And I hate the thought of parents in that facility not knowing what happened. And I hate how blasé the entire staff was about it happening, and the fact that they weren't even the ones to get her. But anyways, I'm gonna leave screenshots of all the stuff at the end. Here is the voicemail that they left me at 4:38. Obviously I can't play it, but you can read what it says. And here is the policy that says nothing about suspension for escaping the grounds.
I took her to the penthouse and I freaked it.
And I freaked it.
Should I keep it?
And I keep it.
And listen to la bella baba beep it.
I beep it.
La di da di da.
All right, y'all. So later on this evening, I will be posting a whole story time video on what happened February 1st when Anastasia, aka Tampa Bay, what happened with the situation. I'm not going to get into it right now because there's so much detail to it. I know that a lot of people have already seen my comment on Facebook. If y'all haven't figured it out, I'm Amber Shea on Facebook. So I'm the one that made the comment on the Polk County mugshot page about what had happened. So to go into more depth to it, I will be making a whole storytime video. So y'all go ahead, follow, do whatever. Keep in mind, I am not a content creator, so y'all are going to have to bear with me. But if y'all want to know what happened, y'all know what to do. All right, y'all. I'm going to try and make this as short as I possibly can. So the night of February 1st, this is when it happened. So it happened around like 9:30 at night. I heard the crash. Y'all, the crash was so loud. The inside cameras at my fiance's house, it set the living room camera off. That's how loud the crash was. So basically, the Tampa Bay girl, now, y'all, I have no idea who this girl is. I don't care who this girl is. I have never heard about Tampa Bay until this happened. And she was telling us, I'm TikTok famous. I'm TikTok famous. And then we got curious and then we figured out who she was. So anyways, so when the wreck happened, she had blew through the stop sign. This is the road she was coming down. This is the road that the other girl that got hit was coming down. There's a stop sign right here at the end of the road that Tampa Bay was on. She blows through the stop sign, does not even attempt to stop. The girl that got hit got pushed into a wooded line, probably about 30 feet into the wooded area. And so it's literally right next to my fiance's house. It butts up right next to it. So I was in the living room. I had just gotten done doing schoolwork. I'm literally just sitting there scrolling on my phone, hear this massive crashing noise, and I go outside. So when I get out there, I'm asking, obviously, are you okay? Has anybody called 911? Nobody had called 911. When I had walked out there, Anastasia, Tampa Bay, was getting out of the driver's seat. The dude that was with her was laying on the ground behind her Jeep. So my fiance came outside, the neighbor came outside, both guys, went over there and was trying to pry open the door, trying to get her door open. But the girl that got hit, she got hit so hard that we couldn't open the door. So we had to wait till EMT got there, fire department, yada, yada. They were able to get her out whenever they got there. So, and the girl she walked away, but she walked away, she got on the gurney and they took her to the hospital. The girl that got hit, she's 4 months pregnant. I don't know any details about her. I wouldn't put the details out there anyways. I feel so bad for her, especially when we found out that she was 4 months pregnant. I am 5 months pregnant. I am the girl that got threatened by Tampa Bay. So I was on my fiance's property, and obviously I'm on the phone with 911 because nobody else had called 911. I'm on the phone with 911. I'm telling them what had happened, giving them the address, telling them, I think that they're hurt. Y'all need to hurry up and get here. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, while I'm on the phone with 911 and the guys are over there trying to help this other girl that got hit, the Tampa Bay girl just randomly pipes out with, I guess I'm going to jail. And we're like, why would you be going to jail? Well, then she pipes out with, because I'm drunk. And I'm just like, are you fucking serious? Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. So when she piped out with that she was drunk, we were all just like, you're an idiot. So she did get called a dumb bitch. And I did tell the 911 operator that, this girl just said that she's driving drunk. Like, y'all, I think y'all need to hurry up and get here. So that made her mad. So especially whenever I'm trying to answer 911's questions and stuff, it's making her even more mad that I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell the operator exactly what's going on. So if this girl just said that she's driving drunk, 100% I'm going to tell these people, the authorities, that this girl just said she's driving drunk. Driving drunk isn't cool. Tampa Bay, if you see this, you are a dumb bitch. You are a dumb bitch for driving drunk. You could have literally killed the girl that you hit. You're not cool. You're whatever you think you are. You're not. You're absolutely not. I mean, you literally could have gotten a DUI manslaughter. Anyways, so once she starts hearing me say all this and she heard that, you know, she got caught a dumb bitch, she goes crazy. She goes absolutely insane. She starts throwing her hands around. She starts talking shit. Okay, we can deal with her talking crap. It is what it is. We can totally deal with that. But once she stood at that gate and she climbed up on top of that gate and she started threatening me, I told her, you better leave me alone. I'm 5 months pregnant. So she knew that I was pregnant. So once she heard that, she continued to run her mouth. I was on the phone with 911, didn't care what she was saying. So the guys were still trying to help the girl. So at some point, the dude that she was with goes over into the wooded line and starts to try and argue with the girl that just got hit by them. So when he's walking over there, he stumbles and my fiance grabs him and was like, are you okay? So then the guy started getting all crazy with him, telling him, don't touch me, yada yada. And all my fiance did was catch him because he literally tripped and my fiance caught him. So, but he was in the process of trying to talk crap to the girl that got hit by them. So he's over there doing that. She's on the gate talking smack. I'm on the phone with 911. The guys are trying to help the girl. So then all of a sudden, my neighbor crawls back over the fence line because there's a fence line that was in between our property and where the girl landed. So he comes over there and he's standing next to me because he sees that, I mean, it looks like the Tampa Bay girl is trying to climb the gate. So, and obviously he knows I'm pregnant and he's going to protect me. So the girl proceeds to climb the gate. She climbed over the gate. She got on the inside of the gate and started twerking. I cannot make this up. She falls off the gate. By the time that she falls off the gate and she's basically dry humping the ground, that's when I started recording. There's no audio on my recording because I'm still on the phone with 911 at this point. I stayed on the phone with 911 all the way up until the cops got there. So it just went from one thing to the next. So when she climbed up on the gate and stuff, the gate ended up unlatching and it opened up. So when she got off the ground, y'all see, I'll post the video. So she's coming at everybody. She puts her hands on the neighbor. Her old man puts their hands on the neighbor. And then whenever her old man is doing his thing with the neighbor, and at first the dude had just came on the property because he was trying to get Tampa Bay off the property. That would have been fine. He would have never even got a charge if he wouldn't have proceeded to put his hands on the neighbor. And then the girl, Tampa Bay, proceeded to go over to the fence line and shove her, y'all will see the video, but she shoved her hand into my fiance's face, and my fiance mushed her hand away, and she continued to put her hand in his face, and it ended up, initially she ended up hitting him. That video I gave to the cops. So we told them what happened. So the cops made the decision to go ahead and put the charges that they did on these two people. The dude probably would have never even gotten a battery charge if he would have just continued to try and remove his feral bitch from the property. So, it is what it is. Y'all made y'all's choice. Hope you live with your choice, and I hope you're happy with your choice. I don't really care. But either way, this is the story. This is what happened. I'll also post the video of her coming onto the property. Like I said, it does not have any audio to it. So, but that's because I was on the phone with 911. So, but yeah, that's what happened.